Once more, good afternoon, everyone. Again, welcome to episode 2 of the eBay's Learning Series. My name is Tangang Andrew, Senior Policy Analyst at eBay's Africa. I'll be your host and moderator for today's webinar. Thank you for taking time to join us from different parts of the world, organizations. And our session for today focuses on our newly published paper in Frontiers in Education titled Preconditions for Learning in the Lake Chad Basin. So together we'll explore what the evidence tells us about the condition children need before meaningful learning can happen. So before proceeding with introducing our panelists and presenters, we have some housekeeping ground rules. So before we begin, the session is being recorded and please the microphones muted throughout the webinar except permitted to speak. And we encourage you to share your questions using the chat, and we'll address as many as possible during the discussion. And without wasting more time, would the standard program is divided into two sections. The first is presentation. Mr. Claude Fotso, who is going to present the paper. Claude Fotso is a researcher within the education program at eBay's Africa, and he specialized in foundational learning, education in emergencies, and evidence-informed policy. He's a lead author of this paper on preconditions for learning in Lake Chad Basin, and serves as monitoring, evaluation, and learning lead for Cameroon under the Unlocking Data Initiative, translating research into actionable policy and practice. Mr. Claude, you have to entertain us on the results of this paper before we proceed to discussion.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Can you hear me? Please, Andrew, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello. Oh, okay. Please, Julius, if you can project my slides, I appreciate it. Hi, Julius.
Yes, Claude. Your slides are coming up in a bit, please.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Julius. So I'll be presenting on the preconditions for learning for the Lake Chad Basin. So this is a paper that we recently published, as Andrew just said, on Frontiers, and it speaks about the various aspects, the various things that are required to be in place before effective learning can take place in the classroom, and especially in the Chad Basin. So the countries of focus include Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria. Next slide, please. All right. So this for this paper, we did 39 key informant interviews, 5 focus group discussions, and like I previously mentioned, we focus on 4 countries. And while we were analyzing, we used the Wertheimer's ecological system theory, which talks about that an individual, within an individual, for an individual to succeed, there are certain things surrounding the individual at various levels. That is, you have the micro level, you have the microsystem level, the mesosystem level, the exosystem level, the macro system level, and also the chronosystem level. And we were able to, and this paper I'll be doing a cross comparison between the various countries based on the findings which we had. Next slide, please. So look at the first negligence. So we can start in Chad. There were several themes that were very common between Chad, Niger, and Nigeria. And these countries, they're talking about a system that is destroyed and paralyzed. Like you look at, they're talking about classrooms being, students not being able to study well in good classrooms. You're talking about corruption and and funds being diverted into other uses, and not being funds for education being diverted into other uses. Or while in Cameroon, the focus was quite different. There was more of a crisis in pedagogical practices. Like they were talking about the feedback audits, where data travels within the data chain, that is from the classroom to the policy and back from the policymaker to the classroom. That feedback loop is quite broken in Cameroon, and we have participants talking about a need to overhaul the education system in Cameroon. And so the difference between Cameroon and the other countries was the other countries were talking about a system that is broken, while in Cameroon we're talking about improving the education system that already exists and making changes. Next slide, please. So looking at the microsystem level, I think one thing that came up consistently was poor teacher and the treatment of teachers, and the motivation that teachers face in these countries. For example, in Nigeria, there was a talk about low salaries and how teachers are being perceived in society. Sometimes they mock them that they earn less and their profession is not dignified. I think this was even highlighted today within the Flex conference, where a professor from Nigeria asked the minister of education in Kenya that how has Kenya been able to bridge the gap, this aspect of teacher motivation, where teachers are feel motivated. So this is one thing that's actually a problem that's being faced within the sub-Saharan Africa. So in Chad, we were talking about low pay. Chad, we had the things about low pay and lack of teaching materials, and this also erodes the morale of teachers. Why Cameroon and Nigeria, there's also the aspect of erosion of respect. Teachers fear students instead of students being afraid of teachers, which is a problem, and that poses a lot of aspects to education in sub-Saharan Africa. So the trust that came up was that there was how teachers were being perceived in the past. where teachers were seen as respected in society, but in the modern area, that respect has deteriorated. Next slide, please. So we'll still looking again at the macro system. We're looking at the cultural patriarchy and barriers for girls. This has to do with the culture of South Africa, where in places like Chad, Nigeria, girls have been prioritized in education. Girls have been given to early marriages, and this has to do with religion, religious beliefs, cultural beliefs. In Cameroon, there's more of gender-based violence, and I think gender-based violence has become prominent recently in Cameroon, with several stories of girls being abused, and also there's also the nuance in Cameroon where there's this stereotype that when women are educated, they become undesirable for marriage. That is, they command high respect or high bride price, and so all these nuances they affect education, especially within the girl child. Please, next slide. Okay, so at the ecosystem level, we're looking at inadequate infrastructure and resources. So, like I said at the beginning, that in Chad and Niger, there's much talk about a systemic collapse within the learning environment. We have students sitting on floors to learn. We have uncompleted classrooms. You have high student-teacher ratio. For example, you can have almost 147 students in the class, and these environments prevent learning to be effective. While in Cameroon, it's more about shortages of learning materials. We have shortages of textbooks, poorly equipped laboratories, few digital tools. Yeah, and all of these, and with the current appetite for modern learning, the lack of these tools to prevent learning in the classroom. Next slide, please. Okay, so looking at the four countries, that's Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria, there's some common themes that came up that affect education in all countries. The first one was student hunger. This came up in all the countries, that the absence of food in school probably help prevent students from learning well. Another one was distance to school. Students there are many places in the sub-Saharan Africa where students have to trek long distance into school, and these affects, by the time they get to school, they are tired. And the other aspect is the safety along the road, especially with the girl child. Moving along the road, sometimes they're attacked by predators, and there's need to improve the safety along the road, and also to bring education closer to the students. Next slide, please. So now we have looked at some of the problems that have faced education in sub-Saharan Africa. But there are some things that were highlighted that can actually improve education, and that can sustain learning. In Cameroon, there's a high call for pedagogical innovation, which talks about teacher professional development, and also having and also the aspect of giving constructive feedback to teachers, and also the Ubuntu inspired relational pedagogy approach, which talks about a community sense of learning, and also bringing in the aspect of social emotional learning into the classroom. So these are aspects that can foster education within the region. The teams that came up for Chad, Nigeria, and Chad and Niger that can support learning. We have improved coaching in schools. They talk about school canteens, and this is something that was being implemented in Niger. They talk about financial conditions that there should be more parental involvement through and also traditional rulers should be sensitized to be able to promote education within their community. Next slide. Hi, Julius, please next slide. All right. So this is just a snapshot of the cross-country comparison, where we have the signature by country and the signature facilitator for each country. So for Cameroon, we see that the main barrier we have teacher motivation and feedback quality. And the facilitator that came up was the Watch Guy Motivation and Training. In Chad, we have infrastructure collapse and unfenced schools, and the signature facilitator was community and religious school preferences. In Niger, the main equity and school canteens to improve school feeding and nomad adapted schools, that schools to adapted for the nomadic community, those people in the nomad communities. In Nigeria, the signature barrier was segregated infrastructure and poor pay to teachers, and which caused the decline in morale. And the signature facilitator is structured administration and PTA support. Right. This next slide, Julius. So what does this mean for policy? All of these, what does this paper and how can we use this to influence policy? So I think the first one would be to call for investment in nutrition and mobility in school. This was like I said, school feeding was like the main binding barrier that affected all the countries. So investing in school feeding programs, also safe transport conditions too, can improve learning within the region. We should also take into account teachers' well-being and safety as well by increasing probably teachers' allowances and also focusing on teacher professional development. And the last one is for us to scale what already works, and this will be especially in Cameroon to look at the pedagogical innovations that we have seen that works. We can use this and scale them. Next slide, please, Julius. So this is just a food for thought from the presentation. Securing these preconditions is what moves the region from educational survival to sustainable attainment. So the question is, where do you see the sharpest opportunity for cross-country learning? Cameroon's pedagogy, Niger's canteen, or shared investment in teacher welfare? Next slide, please. So this is if you scan this QR code, it will take you, it's a link to the paper on Frontiers. So if you're interested to read it, just scan it and open your device. So thank you. That's the end of my presentation.
Okay, so thank you very much, Claude. Thanks for the insightful presentation. And I think was a beautiful opportunity to delve deeper into the the details of this paper. So you're actually spot on as far as time is concerned. That gives us an opportunity to further explore other themes. So I'll now proceed to our panel conversation, and I'll present our panelists. So for our panelists, we have a practitioner, a policymakers, and a specialist education in emergencies. So I'll start with one of the ladies before the gentlemen. So I would want to introduce Madam Sambalidi, who has been a primary school teacher since 2015. With strong bilingual background. Yeah. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I get you now.
Okay, thank you. So she's passionate about improving the education experience and well-being of underprivileged children. Her work is driven by a commitment to helping French-speaking learners develop their English, reading, and speaking skills, enabling them to communicate more confidently and effectively in society. I would also want to introduce Mr. Nguang Roland, who is an education in emergencies specialist with Plan International Cameroon and a seasoned education leader with 4 decades of experience in teaching, school administration, education policy, and crisis affected learning environments. He previously served as regional delegate of secondary education in the Northwest region of Cameroon. Mr. Roland has played a leading role in advancing safe, inclusive, and resilient education systems, particularly within contexts affected by conflict and displacement in Cameroon. And finally, we have Mr. Tomo Joseph, who is the technical advisor #1 at the Ministry of Basic Education in Cameroon. With decades of experience in education, he has served in various capacities as a teacher, school administrator, and education leader. His expertise spans education management, teacher support, and education policy, with a strong commitment to strengthening learning outcomes for all children. So those are our panelists, and I would start with Madam Samba Lidi. So, Madam Lidi, as someone working directly with learners, how do the findings on hunger and transportation reflect what you see in your school every day? Perhaps 3 minutes.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening. Thank you very much, Dr. Tangang. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this privilege and honor to have me on your panel. I just want to salute your lead team, Mr. Dr. Okwit. Thank you very much for having me on this second series. Well, the challenge we have is apparently when the children come to school, the few hours you're teaching, you realize the way they are no more committed. some are even sleepy, some are tired, some come late. I always meet them on the way when they're coming to school. When I have space, I carry them. When I don't have space in the car, if I have my colleagues there, I just wait for them in school. While in school, the tendency is when your lessons are going on, you notice that some are tired. They present the signs of fatigue. And that's when I will have to change my approach of teaching. I have to now step into other strategies where they will have to be implicated in the lessons so that it shouldn't be like a dormant kind of lesson going on. So the findings I have here is really hard because some children, they leave very early to come to school. And I made a little bit of research. The last child, that is a child, according to my itinerary from Ngumu to Akono, we have 7 kilometers of trekking, which is like close to an hour. And it's really difficult for a child that is maybe like class 1 learner to leave his or her home to reach school and still have that pace. And maybe the child will even leave school without eating on an empty stomach or eating even, and it's somehow difficult to sustain the whole day without eating because some parents don't have the financial means. Hello? Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are getting you. We are getting you.
Okay, there is one point I want to lay out here. We have government bilingual primary schools in subdivisions are only one because these are rural areas. And it makes it a little bit difficult for some parents that live far. Most of the parents that live in villages, they rent homes or they rent like rooms for the children. Like if I have children that age from primary level to secondary, I prefer the parent will rent a room where the children will all settle close to school, cook a little, and maybe can be having access to school despite the hour. But there are some parents that they can't afford, they live very far. Some like on the way. I have a parent who lives in Olama. So the child comes on by a car, they drop him. But when the child comes to school, he's tired. He's not tired because of the trekking. He's tired because he woke up early to prepare and come to school on time. And when you wake up early, your brain is already functioning. Your brain is already active, let me say that. And maybe you might not have time to eat or because of the class going on. Maybe it's not yet time for break, and you're already presenting to the child presents signs of fatigue. So hunger really, I for one, hunger is something very important. It plays a role on the education and the feedback and the progress of the child. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam. I think just for context, you teach at Government Primary School, Akono. I guess so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so thank you. And the second question, which I would like you to probably take us through before we move on, which of the identified barriers within the study has the greatest impact on your learners, on your students or your pupils' ability to learn, in your opinion?
Okay, thank you. I enjoyed that. I spotted all these years. It centers around hunger. Uh, if your parents have built a home wherever they have built, the distance is not a problem. Back in our days when we used to look back, we're thinking about what our parents have cooked, and we are hungry, but we are being motivated by what our parents have cooked, our moms. And arriving home, you might notice that there is nothing practically cooked. So you get tired, you get more hungry. Distance is not really a big deal because when you are hungry, or if you're full, you're fed, if you're full, distance is not barrier because I can eat well and take my trip, a walk to Yaoundé. If I have made up my mind, I have eaten, I have a full stomach, then I can go to Yaoundé on foot. even if I stop by the way. So distance is really no barrier because it's a tar road from Ngumu to some children that live at Mimbang. Let me give an example. Where my children, the last of my learners live at Mimbang to Akono. It's a tar road. It's not it's not a secondary road. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Lizzie. So I think one thing I've gathered from your presentation is about the fatigue some of your learners experience due to the fact that they wake up early, and once they wake up early, the brain starts accelerates the level of its work, and when they can get to class, there's this lack of focus. As a result, it pushes you to change your approach to teaching them, which I think it's quite intriguing. Now we're going to turn over to Mr. Nguang Roland, who's going to throw more light on some of these aspects. So, Mr. Nguang Roland, once more, you're welcome. And the first question is, the study highlights hunger, transportation, challenges, and other structural barriers as major obstacles to learning. How do these findings align with Plan International Cameroon's current education and child protection programs, particularly in crisis-affected communities? Mr. Roland.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Tanga. Thank you so much for this opportunity of giving us in Plan to participate in this discussion. I am sorry that I am taking part in this discussion from the field. I'm somewhere in Balmayo for an activity. So connectivity issues here a bit. I'm just lucky that by the moment we started the conversation, things are stabilized. So are you getting me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, that's lucky now. That's lucky. Yeah, so thank you. In fact, the findings align very closely with what we observe on a daily basis in Plan Cameroon's programming, our interventions in communities across Cameroon. In the far north region, which is, our concentrates on the Lake Chad Basin, as well as in other crisis-affected regions of the country. You have the northwest, you have the southwest, and the rest of the regions in the country that are affected by the crisis, where we support conflict-affected refugee, internally displaced, and host community children. Hunger remains a major barrier to attendance, concentration, and retention. Many children arrive at school without having eaten. It is common to find it, making it difficult for them to engage meaningfully in learning. And when you look at the kids, you read hunger on the children's faces, and you read fatigue on the children's faces. Similarly, long distances and insecurity on the way to school, on the way to and back from school, particularly affect girls and children with disabilities, as well as younger learners. Our response therefore goes beyond classroom instruction. Through integrated education in emergencies and child protection programming, we support safe learning spaces, psychosocial support, community-based child protection mechanisms, school rehabilitation, teaching and learning materials, and referrals for vulnerable children. So we have also learned that when families face economic hardships, children's education is often interrupted. This is why we in Plan International Cameroon, we increasingly combine educational support with resilience building initiatives, community engagement. And that's why at the moment we have a policy. Localization policy is one that emphasizes a lot on community engagement and then protection interventions that address the broader challenges children face. So the key lesson for us is very simple. A child who is hungry, traumatized, and unsafe, or exhausted from walking long distances cannot fully benefit from even the best teaching practices. So the study consequently validates what practitioners have seen for years, what we in Plan especially have seen for years, that addressing these barriers is not simply complementary to education. In fact, it is fundamental to education. It's fundamental. So in Plan, our programming is driven by giving a holistic approach to this issue, and not just concentrating on teaching and learning as such, but making sure that the issues we have raised here are addressed and it becomes a holistic bundle. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nguyen. And just a follow-up question on that, which is, considering that you have this wide experience implementing education programs in fragile contexts. I mean, you were a regional delegate in the Northwest region at a very delicate period. Which of the study's findings resonates most with the realities faced by children in Cameroon, and why?
Yeah, you're right. The experience I've had is one that is, there are moments when I call it a tantalizing experience, and at the same time, exciting and interesting from the moment you're sighted. And right now, the experience I'm having now is a bit, it's one that is more profound because I'm dealing at national scale. In fact, this study's findings resonate very strongly, but the one that stands out most is the study's conclusion that basic psychosocial or psychological and protection needs must be met before meaningful learning can occur. In fact, that particular resonates, as if that resonates. In fact, in crisis-affected regions of Cameroon, many children are dealing simultaneously with displacement, poverty, psychosocial distress, food insecurity, and protection risks. And when it comes to protection risk, the girl child is more at risk. Teachers often tell us that, just like my colleague who spoke, the lady who was first to do her presentation, teachers often tell us that learners are physically present in class, but emotionally disengaged because of the challenges they face outside the classroom.
I can hear you on my side. Hello.
Hello. Oh la la. Hello.
Yes, Miss.
Hello,
I can
hear
we
you.
can hear
Are you
you.
getting me now?
Yes,
Yes,
can
you
hear you.
said
Can hear you.
Oh, again, I apologize, but the sound was not good. I was just saying that one of the conclusions that the study that resonates so much is the fact that basic psychosocial and protection needs must be met before meaningful learning can occur. This is the first that resonates for the question you asked. And I just from what my colleague, the first speaker, the experience she was recounting about what she sees on a daily basis. Daily basis. And you see, so in crisis-affected regions in Cameroon, so many children are dealing simultaneously with displacement, poverty, psychosocial distress, food insecurity, and protection risks. So teachers often tell us that learners are physically present in class, but emotionally absent. And this was clearly illustrated by my colleague. So the second finding that resonates strongly is the importance of community and parental engagement. And remember, in answering the first question I talked about in Plan, we have a flagship policy we have now, that of localization. So in many communities where Plan International works, educational recovery becomes possible only when parents and traditional leaders, religious leaders, teachers, local authorities, etc., when they participate and play the role that they're supposed to play. So we have witnessed remarkable improvements in attendance, especially among girls, when communities become active partners in school management and protection. So for me, the study reminds us that learning poverty particularly, cannot be resolved through textbooks and it requires addressing the complex realities shaping children's lives both in and out of school.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nguyen. And I think I love the emphasis on social and emotional learning because it's I think eBase took some strategic steps in that, like commissioning a study on more like context-specific social and emotional learning approaches within the context of Cameroon. We have some interesting findings to that effect on how homegrown approaches to social and emotional learning, the Ubuntu pedagogy, how like we work together as community, also engaging parents and communities, as you rightly mentioned, can contribute to improving learning outcomes, especially access and improvement in educational scores. Um, I think we'll still stay with you, Mr. Wang, considering that you have this imperious background in terms of policy. Of course, you've been a policymaker and you have had this opportunity to, of course, contribute to policy conversations at different levels, both when you were still as a regional delegate and now working from the corridors of plan. So, what do you think, in your opinion, like from this study? Which of the study findings present the biggest policy challenge for Cameroon?
Yes. Yeah, the biggest policy challenge that this study presents, uh, at this moment that we're speaking, the greatest problem we have with education in Cameroon is financing. It's financing, especially at the moment when we have the financial squeeze that we're all aware of, where the funds are becoming quite rare. So the biggest policy challenge we have is for the state to meet up with its responsibility, with its regalian responsibility, to make sure that every Cameroonian child is provided the basics as far as education is concerned. And when we find ourselves now with the context that is asserted by these studies, well, we are all agreed that it's not just all about building the schools, employing the teachers, and then talk about this number of schools that are available, number of students, children in school, etc., etc. But ensuring that quality education is placed at the disposal of every child, which implies that that considerations that are out of the classroom should be taken on board, as we are asserting by this discussion. That's where the issue lies now. So the policy issues that the greatest policy challenge is around financing. You very well much know the percentage of budget that is supposed to be allocated to education, which is at the moment it's not available. It's not available. And we look at the package, the package that the state has available for the sector of education. We look at the package, it looks big, but 80% of that package goes for running costs, and only about 20% is into investment. And you can now understand why the issues that your study has brought out are preponderant, why the issue that your study has brought out are real and they're palpable and need very urgent attention. So I think this study, therefore, is not just, it goes beyond the discussion we're having now. I just pray that you'd share this with the powers that be, so that because as partners, as education partners in the country, we're trying to cause government to understand that we really have to be a bit more intentional when it comes to policy issues about financing education, so that we're not just laying our minds and limiting our view just to the fact that we have children in school and that we have this number of schools operational, this number, the enrollment is increasing and things or whatever. But we have to go beyond that and ensure that the extra concerns as identified in this study are addressed first with the state taking lead, and then we partners we just come to support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ngwan. We're going to come back to you. Of course, it's not on every occasion that we have an opportunity to leverage on your extensive knowledge on this issue, both ground knowledge and in-office knowledge within the classroom and within the policy spaces. We're going to turn back to Madam Lidi. So, Madam Lidi, now, considering all of these challenges you face and your adaptation or adaptability approaches, what practical support would make the biggest difference for teachers working in your school? and community?
Thank you very much. I think the practical support that it give to the teachers, it's first of all an awareness, because some teachers are not aware that besides teaching, they should like keep an eye on the children. They should be sensitive, be able to identify the child and maybe identify the problem the child is going through. Because some people just do that profession like perfection. They don't know that they have to be aware, sensitive, and this can only draw our attention when maybe we have a little rally, the rally, and we have like hold seminars, and also to add up, we have also a motivation, as we motivate our little ones in school pedagogically. They should also, like as teachers on the field, we should be motivated. That goes to add up with our allowances. Once a teacher is aware and conscious and devoted to putting all his skills, knowledge, and everything he takes for learning, for child to embrace, I think apart from the awareness, motivation adds up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Point on teacher on adaptation. Conducted a study, they studied the social emotional learning pilot, which we conducted at eBase, or which we commissioned at eBase, revealed that one of the adaptation approaches, one of the approaches which like works sometimes is this concept of sharing, where learners who don't have, especially for displaced learners who don't have, the teachers kind of work with the learners who have to kind of share with those who do not have. It could be a pencil, it could be food, it could be like those who have already left school. The school administration kind tries to recycle their uniforms to provide uniforms to those who do not have and they are coming in the next class. So I just want to find out from you, how do teachers adapt when students arrive at school hungry, tired, or emotionally affected by insecurity from your experience? That's Madam Lizzie. Oh, I think we lost her, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. All right, I think we lost Madam Lydie. But in the meantime, please, to our participants, please prepare your questions. We'll have enough time for questions. I can assure you, if you can already put your questions on the chat, that will be interesting. While waiting for Madam Lydie to join, we're going to turn back to you, Mr. Guang. Plan International has extensive experience working across education, child protection, health, and community development. How can these sectors be better integrated to ensure children have the conditions they need to learn and thrive? You're muted, Mr. Ngwa.
Sorry. Sorry. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, as you rightly put it, we have quite extensive experience in working across education, child protection, health, and education development, community development sectors, etc. Yes, in fact, I believe the future lies in genuinely integrated programming. You know, that's where the future lies now. And of course, our partners, our donors are insisting on this now. That's where the shift is. And our present difficult financial context at least obliges us to be this way. So too often, education, child protection, health, nutrition, and livelihood interventions have been operating in a parallel. Yet children do not experience life in sectors. You see, they experience life as a whole. The children experience life as a whole. Therefore, the interventions ought to be handled as a whole as well. For example, a girl may miss school because of early marriage risks, lack of menstrual hygiene support, household poverty, or psychosocial distress, etc. So addressing only the education component of the child's need will not solve the problem. I mean, it's been logical. So Plan International's experience has shown that stronger outcomes emerge when sectors work together. Education programs should consequently systematically link with child protection case management, mental health and psychosocial support, nutrition interventions, health services, birth registration, and economic strengthening for families, etc. So, at the community level, schools should become hubs where multiple services converge around the child. Teachers, social workers, health personnel, parents, and local authorities should jointly identify and respond to risks affecting children's learning. In essence, therefore, we need to move from sector-based approaches to child-centered approaches. When we place the child at the center, integrated programming becomes a necessity rather than an option. And that's the way we're going in plan. If you take our interventions in the far north, in the northwest, southwest, and all of that, we make sure that we work not just with other partners that are in the field, so that before any activity, any project is validated, we make sure that all these other components, cross-sector components, are integrated in the package so that the children have an integrated benefit from a package that I can call complete as such. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nguyen. And I think I love the point on systems working together and
Yeah.
moving towards a child-centered approach. Conversation from education improving because study shows basic needs must first be addressed, and you have touched on some of those basic needs. And amongst those, you also mentioned hygiene management in schools, which is also one of the areas that
Yeah.
eBase commissioned an RCT on, and it shows that through a comprehensive approach to menstrual hygiene management in schools, that's a combination of hard components and soft components, meaning
Yeah.
facilities and teacher professional development with sensitization, sometimes led by the students themselves. They can contribute to improving the menstrual health in the schools. I think there's much more in common with between eBase and Plan, which probably sets the pace for us to share I will call research intelligence at this stage of us just evidence and continue to push for to engage in government. I'm wondering if Madam Lizzie is here. So I don't know, Madam Lizzie, if you got my question. And after that, we'll have just one closing, like one final remark before we open the floor for questions. So, Madam Lydie, I was actually asking, like, how do teachers adapt when students arrive at school hungry, tired, or emotionally affected by insecurity? From your experience, how do teachers adapt?
Thank you very much. From my own experience as a mother, besides being a teacher, I am a mother. So if it has to do with hunger issues, if it's within my means, I can help the child or the children, because it's not good that if my child also is somewhere stranded, I know that a teacher will go an extra mile to meet up the needs of my child. Now, if it's for emotional reasons, I will call the child and ask questions. I'm talking about the experience, ask questions to know what is wrong. That sometimes I will, like a case, I asked a question to a little girl. Her countenance was very, very sad. All through, it's not like a particular day. all through she has been coming to school, her countenance has been very, very low. And when I asked her what is wrong, she made me understand that she's living with her elderly ones and she's sick, and they have not given her drugs, and they have not even called the parents to reach out. That's when I had to ask her to look for the number of the father. Let me reach out to him. Then this year, I noticed that the child, her countenance has changed, and there's a lot of improvement because she wasn't really making it in her recent assessments. She wasn't really improving. But this year, she's now in class 2. Her countenance has changed. Even when she sees me, she smiles. Her face is lit. Now, as far as fatigue is concerned, I always have I always come to school ready for my children. Like when I come, after they have done the assembly in class, I have my little warm up in class, and I make sure that I have a lot of songs. When I teach a lesson, I have to make a song. I have to make a song that when they're singing, they will remember the lesson alongside keeping themselves charged and active and proactive as well. So these are the ways that I approach my learners when they come to school, fatigued and maybe hungry, or maybe emotionally unstable. Thank you.
Sorry, Satanga, can I add something there?
Yes,
Sure.
yes, of course. Yes, please.
Yes, I think you have raised a very relevant point, the reaction of teachers and how they feel about the plight of the learners. This is quite pertinent. In the far north region, the crisis has been much more the crisis in far north have been more prolonged than we have in northwest. And we realize in the north southwest, for example, that at the onset of the crisis, people received teachers were sufficiently equipped to handle the traumatized children as safety and security related challenges were concerned. And the same kind of presumption came up in the far north region where this Boko Haram issue was escalating and all of that. But suddenly realized that, teachers, in the course of being trained as teachers, the training programs did not integrate crisis management. And therefore, at the onset of the crisis, a lot was expected from teachers when they themselves did not have. And it was observed in some communities that some teachers had greater security challenges than even the kids. Some teachers were more battered, and the statistics were clear. When you look at the statistics of attacks against teachers, the statistics attacks against teachers regular is generally much more than against the children. And in the Northwest, Southwest, again, is motivated by the financial part of it, that those who are attacking, kidnapping, and all of that, they get more from teachers than they can get from children and all of that. So what we've been doing, therefore, is to make sure that we try to build the capacities of the teachers to be able, first of all, to manage themselves in order to be able to manage the kids who are victims of a situation they did not create. And that's why we're coming in with psychosocial support programs, mental health programs, and then, lots of packages and programs that will permit the teachers, in addition to the professional package that they have and inputs they have during training, they're able to respond relevantly and respond adequately and respond professionally to the needs of the kids, and not mourn more than the children when they are faced with some of the challenges of hunger, of insecurity, and all the other and motivation challenges and all of that. Again, the whole thing is further complicated by the fact that the context which a Cameroonian teacher is operating is one that that's another topic for another day, I think. It's a complicated, it's a complex situation. The plight of the teacher is one that is complex, because in Cameroon, which teacher are we referring to? Those who are public sector, those who are private sector, those who are intermediate and all of that. It's a whole, but at the end of it, what I'm trying to say is that, yes, we try to improve on the teachers' capacity. First, to manage the situations as teachers, and then secondly, to see how to manage to take care of the children who are already in a very desperate state, and so that the teacher doesn't come with the intention of going to class and teaching. The teacher does much more than just getting to class and teaching, and the much more is what your study has identified that we need to be very concerned about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ngwang and Madam Lydia. And I think for the final question before we open the floor for the audience to come in, I think we'll have approximately like 20 minutes for questions and answers. So Now, what measures, that's to both Madam Lydie and Mr. Nguyen, what measures is the government taking to implement solutions such as around school feeding programs or improve school transportation? Madam Lydie first before Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you very much. I will start by the measures concerning the feeding program. To be precise, in Nakono, we don't have a structure. So one of the measures I would suggest is we could put in a structure for a school canteen that the powers that be, policymakers, or those who are responsible can partner with the elites and the parents and head teachers, because the head teachers are the ones that know the children in difficulty. Because there are some parents that are well-to-do that they come to school with the children, the children have their snacks. Children are well prepared, even after school, if they have remedial classes to do with the teachers, they are well equipped for it. So the school canteen put in place can be very important. Here in Gumu, where I live permanently, there is a school canteen already. The mayor has, in collaboration with his partners, they built their school canteen. I heard information from one of my colleagues that there's a school canteen in Bikok as well, Bikok subdivision. So at Kono, where I teach, we have practically 3 primary schools and 2 nursery schools in one place. So from government bilingual primary school at Kono, we are bordered from the north to the north by a government primary school, a government nursery school, the French government nursery school, and the English government, that is the inclusive government English nursery school. And the northeast, we have group école primaire publique, groupe 1 et groupe 2. So we have practically 5 schools in one place, which can be very possible to meet the need of the children as far as hunger is concerned. Now, concerning transport, the only thing I could suggest is for children that are living far, if they could put a locomotive, like a bus, providing a path for children, to drop children on the way, that is to reduce their path, or when returning, because in the morning times, the moments are still fresh, everybody's on the road. It's after school when you don't know at what time children might reach home, and the safety is also another point to look into. I think these are the 2 major points I can suggest. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Nguyen, I don't know if from your experience working with government, if government has put in place any measures already regarding school feeding or school improving school feeding or school transportation. In just a few minutes, about 3 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. I think government has been doing a lot. It's been doing a lot in terms of policy. There are very good policies, and the intention is there. And government has wonderful intentions with wonderful policies, no doubt. And the only limitation is the financial, the BAM. The BAM. So now, if I take security, for example, when you look at the attacks against schools in the northwest, southwest, and even the far north, realize that government is doing a lot to make sure that the situation is brought under control. That we can see. The statistics speak. Just if we had time, I would have given you clear figures. So you see exactly how the situation, government is trying to get the situation under control, which is good. And as far as that's concerned, we should know that 10 years ago, government had the Safe Schools Declaration, was part of a signatory to the Safe Schools Declaration, which is an international undertaking that has been an international commitment undertaken by governments across the world. And the government of Cameroon took that commitment, and we partners came in to support government. And you wish to know that Plan International in December last year, we co-sponsored the project that came up with the roadmap the Safe Schools Declaration Roadmap for Cameroon that we have now. And in Nairobi, where we had a review at the 10th anniversary of the SSD, we were part of the delegation from Cameroon. I was part of the delegation that went to Nairobi, Kenya, and we did a review of Safe School Declaration and took concrete commitments. And those commitments we're trying to see how to help government to put in place. So as far as government is concerned, a lot is done. And we partners were coming to support. But it's not sufficient yet. It's not sufficient because, community commitment is not yet at an appreciable level. Financial limitations are there. Then community commitment is still an issue, and we're driving towards that. There about school feeding. Yes, school feeding, government is doing a lot, no doubt. Very good policies are there. But again, limitations of material and financial limitations are there. That's why we realize that most of the school feeding programs we have are carried on by partners like us across the nation. Yes, with the green light and support from government, no doubt. But our desire is to see school feeding become part of the state budget. So they have schools that are run, and the school feeding program is fully taken care of by the state. And we're moving towards that. We're moving towards that gradually, and we're working together with the ministerial departments to see how that. But for now, I think the example has been set. We get to schools where the school feeding program is on. The results are very clear. The children's performance is improved. Their well-being is improved. Resilience is improved, and all of that. The bottom line is that we are very much interested in a situation where we want a situation where resilience is built. In fact, the ultimate goal should be to create systems that anticipate risks and continuously support children's well-being rather than waiting for emergencies before we act. All of us, it's a matter of all of us, all of us. So that's what I can say as far as that is concerned. Summary, government is doing a lot with partners. They will still have so much is still undone, and we can do much more, constraints notwithstanding.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the watchword there is that we should be proactive and not reactive. We should prepare teachers for all eventualities.
That's it.
And we should adopt a child-centered approach, and to which adding to being proactive is for government to also listen to the voice of researchers, test emerging innovations, and use the data to feed future innovations. Hence, the policy research nexus. There's an interesting question in the chat, and I think not asking this question would not do justice to this research and to having amazing panelists with us. So, in 1 minute or in 2 minutes each, like would like to know what if there are any experiences on how the preconditions as presented in the research affect persons with disabilities and their learning. I think that's the question. So we're happy to hear from the panelists. So briefly, in about 1.5 or 2 minutes each, I'll start with Mr. Ngwang. Since you already have the floor, you could just continue from there. Thank you. Before
how dare you not start with a lady? Okay, my brother. Thank you so much. Yes. In fact, this is again another area that has been my personal concern over the years: the needs of learners with impairments. Yes, my experience in the Northwest taught me a lesson. I realized that when the crisis started, we're all running helter-skelter and forgetting learners with impairments behind, and forgetting persons with impairments behind. So we had now to review our strategy and be very systematic and very intentional with identifying, listening to them, and making sure that they get on board, so don't leave the band, making sure that they become a topmost priority. And the same situation we've observed, in the far north region, the Lake Chad Basin region, when the attacks come in, the tendency is to make the error of leaving behind persons, most especially children and learners with impairments. So in Plan International, we do not validate any intervention without that lens, without the inclusion lens. We don't. Before any activity is designed and validated, we systematically make sure that in our need assessment, we try to focus a lot on learners and persons with impairments so that their needs are met. So it's been a very, and I think because of this intentional address of the needs of persons with impairments, both by by the services that be and us partners, I think we're witnessing very interesting results. We listen to them. We listen to them speak because they're always part of. We don't carry an activity without getting need assessment, evaluation of the project, or whatever feedback mechanisms. We always make sure that we realize that before now a lot was being done and they would be lost and all. They were more traumatized than. But I think again, we are not yet at optimal. Again, I think significant. I hope you might like to know that we do have regional centers that take care of the needs of person with impairments. I'm sure there's one iconic center in Bamenda in the northwest, quite iconic in GBHS, Bamenda, etc. And in the far north, there are lots of partners doing a lot. But again, as far as planning is concerned, it is a non-negotiable condition. We make sure that persons with impairments, their needs, they are heard, they're involved, and then we make sure that that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ngwang. Madam Lidi, in a minute and a half, how do these preconditions affect persons with disabilities and their learnings from your experience? You are muted if you are speaking. Okay.
Thank you very much. Well, of my own experience, we haven't yet encountered the disabled children in our school yet, but I personally have undergone training with an ONG and an NGO, sorry, with an NGO relating on how to approach these children with for inclusive education. And the center is in Yaoundé. We have done training and she has a school herself. So she gave us resources. We had seminars. That's 2023. So I have an idea so that whenever I have such a case, that is when I will know how I can use the skills that I have acquired. And one good news is that last year, the nursery school, that's Anglophone, the English nursery school, has now changed to an inclusive government English nursery school, which makes that the parents are now aware that they can bring their children that have disabilities so that they can be involved in education. We should not keep them excluded. So we haven't yet got an experience of such. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to our panelists. Now the floor is open for questions. If you have any questions to ask, you may raise your hand and ask the question. This is the opportunity for me to also raise. We may have not done the presentation in French, but you are free to ask your question in French. I think Madame Lidi or Mr. Ngwang would be happy to provide a clear answer in French as well. The subsequent editions, I think the next session is going to be in French. So, any questions from the floor? I think Mr. Beats has had his hand raised at some point. I was quick to pick that. If not, I think there was a question. Okay, yes, Shanice, you have a question, please. Briefly, in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I would like to find out from Mr. Road. I mentioned earlier that there are financial policies in Cameroon that conditions for learning. Can you give some examples of where this might happen, and can you also share if there's any evidence backing that financial policies?
Okay, Shanice, I think your question is around financing. Okay. Just take Mr. Leon before we give for Mr. Leon, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank you,
I'll
Dr.
prefer answer each question. I'll move along a bit.
All right, that's fine. That's okay. Mr. Roland, I think the question on finance is actually directed to you. Indeed, so please.
Okay, yes, I think it's a law that was passed, that was passed in Parliament. It's clear about the percentage of budget that should be, and then the the commitment that the government of Cameroon took with the international community, with the international community, like other countries did, to commit a significant percentage of its budget to education. I think it's supposed to be 20% of the national budget is supposed to be committed to the education sector. But we're not, I think we're still at about 14%. You see, now we're still at 14%. We're still far from the 20%. And when you take the current about 14%, I'm not very exactly sure about the percentage, you realize that a bulk of that package, that package goes to the functioning credit and not investment. So you see where the issue lies. So the government therefore has challenges because you see a bulk of the package is supposed to go to investing in education and not functioning, because the education sector of Cameroon is a burden that is carried by the state. I mean, more than 8% of it is carried by the state. Most of the schools are state-owned. Most of the universities are state-owned. So you can imagine the weight on the state. And that's why a bulk of that package goes to functioning and not investment. So the encouragement we're giving is that government should try to see how to improve on this and move towards the 20% target. And when we get to 20% target, you get to the package, a greater percentage of it should go to investment and not. And that's why the encouragement is to encourage the private sector to see how to get interested in education matters like other countries do, where private sector comes in and all of that. So that's as far as, as financing is concerned. It's quite a challenge. It's quite a challenge. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ngwang. Mr. Lionel, I have for 30 seconds.
Okay, Dr. Tangang, thank you for that. Yeah, my question goes to Mr. Roland. I was interested about his idea about community participation in helping to restructure the educational system. I just wanted to find out from him his point of view on how he thinks the community can participate in solving and helping solving this problem.
Yes. Okay, sorry. Yes, community participation is the way. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Sorry.
You can proceed. Sorry.
Sorry. Dr. Tanga?
Yes, Mr. Ngwang, you can proceed with your response.
Hello? Okay, fine. Yes, I'm happy that he's come back to the issue of community participation. It is around this bottom-up approach and not bottom-top approach and not top-bottom approach. Simple. Yeah, we're all agreed that when whatever activity we're carrying out is driven by the community, is more effective because the communities express their needs. We're just coming to see with them how their needs can be handled, and so it's on that principle, on the basis of that principle we're using, and that's why on the part of the state. On the state, the state talks about decentralization. That concept is about community participation. And us partners, we're talking about localization. Where right now we are as much as possible to hand the resources to the communities to see to carry out the activities themselves. Because and bring it down to a very simple level. I simplified. I love the school. Community participation means that the PTA and the school councils should be fully responsible in the running of their schools. They should play their part. When they play their part, lots of things move on. When you get to a school where the PTAs are functional and the school councils are functional, you realize that initiatives are more sustainable. Whatever initiatives are brought in by the state or by partners are more sustainable. Because the communities have, well, the PTA and the school council, they have the basic resources and the mastery of the local realities make possible for them to deliver more than the external partners that do come in. So the community participation here is, I think, is the way to go right now. And most of our funding partners now, that's what they want to see. That's what they want to see because, You know, you don't take, when the funds come in, the funds should like get to communities instead of hang on branches and leaves and trees and all of that. Get right down to the ground. And so that's the basic principle about community participation. And again, when that happens, we ensure that a resilient system is put in place, and one that is sustainable. Without which, if you don't do that, whatever you do will not be sustainable. Sustainability is defeated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ngwang. I think we have about 6 minutes to the end of this, so technically about, say, approximately 4 to 3 minutes. So before I take the other hands raised, I think there's a question from Olivia and Tam. And this question is to Madam Lady. I mean, of course, you're a teacher, so it affects you directly. And you say teacher welfare is mentioned as one of the factors affecting children's learning. In many African contexts, teachers work under difficult conditions while still being expected to produce excellent results. What policies have shown measurable success in improving teacher motivation and children learning simultaneously? Well, I think Mr. Ngwang, you may have something to say there because it is more of really policy oriented. But Madam Lizzie, is there anything you think the government should do to improve your motivation and children's learning? In 1 minute.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Tangang. We already have an allowance, technical allowance. We have allowance in our salary. The thing I could suggest is that the government could just add from their financial budget. They can just add, take into consideration that we are the ones on ground in the field. So we collaborate most with learners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ngwang, how do you think we can, what policy have shown measurable success in improving teacher motivation apart from allowance? Unless it's just the allowance, then we say we should add more money.
Yeah, teacher motivation is, it's conditions sine qua non for performance and for the needs of the learners to be met. And it's been an issue. It's been an issue in Cameroon. It's been an issue. And a while ago, when I talked about the Cameroonian teacher, it's a complex topic. The teachers of the private sector have a story that is quite complicated. Teachers of the public sector have their own story. And teacher motivation starts from what? It starts from training. So first, we have to ensure that teachers are trained in such a way they're relevant. So they're relevant with the evolving times. You see, that's first thing. When teachers are adequately trained and trained in a way that they're relevant, okay, fine. And then they are placed in ways that they be able to perform, and their ability to perform lies in their ability to take care of themselves, and that's where the issue of motivation comes in. And motivation is not just financial. Motivation has to do also with career-related issues, environmental issues, social security issues, and obviously a whole package that has to come together with teacher, that has to do with teacher welfare, but teachers to be able to meet the needs of learners. So it's true, government has been making efforts now that with partners. As we speak, there are some programs right now that are being sponsored by the Global Partnership for Education. Funds have been made available by the international community, heavy projects, to see how to improve the quality of teaching in both the secondary and basic education sectors and all of that. And these programs have results. You can see that something is happening. It's not sufficient, but at least something is happening. But we still have quite much to do collectively. There's still a lot to be done. There's still a lot to be done in that direction. I'm sure you're aware of the much talked about National Education Forum. When that one comes to yes, I think that's a forum that would permit everybody to talk around about issues of education, and such a forum to be able to address some of these issues about teachers and their ability to be adequately employed and then adequately deployed and adequately perform in a way that at the end of the day, our children receive quality education. But that's the final issue. Have the children been taught in a way that the kids are relevant in today's world? That's the question. So it's a question very...
I think we're having a very
complex.
Interesting conversation and time is short, but I crave the indulgence of our participants and beckon on you all to have one question from Dr. Beats, Dr. Mr. Beats, or Dr. Beats, however it comes. Mr. Beats, your hand was raised, and I know it could be health related, so please.
Yeah.
In 30
you very much.
seconds.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I just asked my question on the chat. I'm very happy to have heard from Mr. Roland. I know that we in health, we have brought on many very, very important programs, and sometimes these programs are short-lived. So my point was with him, with all this nice effort to plan, but are you sure that when plan leaves tomorrow, the government of Cameroon will continue to implement all these very nice policies that you have brought on? And to Madam Lydia, I was very happy that I heard you talk about some coping strategies that you have brought in class. Are these particular to your class? Have you shared all these experiences to your other teachers? And how are you sure that these coping strategies are being implemented by other teachers in the other classes? Thank you, and over.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
So
yes, I am just talking here as a partner. I'm not talking as a government. Anytime I make reference to the state, is from the experience we're having dealing with the state right now, because we work together on a daily basis and all of that, and we see the efforts that are being made, and we also see the challenges that are being faced, just like we partners have challenges. So I think we have in plan, we have programs that are tailored towards capacity building for teachers. In every program we have and any intervention we have in any school, we always have a package for the teachers. We have capacity building for teachers, and capacity building for teachers would be capacity building that is one that is that aligns with the intervention we're coming in with. If I take, for example, the accelerated education program in the Far North region. Okay, now, before the program is implemented in any school, in any center, we make sure that the teachers are trained, sufficiently trained to be able to understand the concept, so we're able to deliver the goods to the kids. So as far as we're concerned in plan, yes, we're very intentional about the schools where we work. We get to any school, we make sure that we're working very closely with the teachers, and we make sure that the authorities of that particular zone, the inspectors, they're involved in the process, whether the technicians who come in to do supervision, who come in to do monitoring, and then together we see how to improve on our strategies. You see, the results are there. I take an example of an accelerated education program. This is a program that is intended to meet the needs of out-of-school children. Children who, because of crisis, have stayed out of school and cannot get back to regular education. So we bring them in this hybrid system, where within 3 years, a child can cover the primary school program and get to the secondary school or vocational training. The results are there. The results are there. We've had children who've been redeemed, and right now they're in secondary school, in technical schools, and not general and technical, thanks to this. And we do that. The key we have is a teacher. That's the key we have. So to answer your question, I think in our own, as far as we're concerned in plan, we do our very best to work with the teachers. We empower them, and we move together with them. We move along with them. It's true, we're not able to address all the teachers in Cameroon. No, we are not able to. We're not able to address all the teachers, the needs of teachers in Cameroon. But the teachers in schools and centers where we're concerned, communities where we're concerned, we do have it. You might like to know that we have partnerships signed with 30 councils. We have 30 pilot councils across Cameroon where we've signed partnership agreement, and we provide them the means to see how to address their issues. And when they're addressing, part of the interventions has to do with teacher capacity building and then teacher motivation and all of those things. So at that level, we do our very best to make sure that the teachers are taken along, they understand the policies, and they are part of it. We are doing the work together, evaluating together, and making sure that sustainability is guaranteed together.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Roland. Having conversations here, fortunately, it's against us, and I think our participants have already really been patient, and we are really appreciative. So as we come to the end of today's webinar, I would like to extend my sincerest appreciation to our presenters, panelists, and all participants who joined us from across different parts of Cameroon, different parts of the world. Today's discussion reminds us that improving learning outcomes requires more than better teaching alone. Children must first have the basic conditions that enable learning to take place, hence the child-centered approach. So we would encourage you to read our various publications which have been shared on the chat, or you can share it with your networks and continue to engage with eBase Africa as we continuously work towards evidence-informed policy and practice in Cameroon and across Africa. Thank you once again for your participation. We look forward to welcoming you in the next episode of the eBase Learning Series, which we promise will be explosive and exclusively in the French language. So thank you very much, and do have a wonderful afternoon in the company of the beautiful publications from eBase Africa. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.